Support for DNVR is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for the grooming experience. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. We have an exclusive offer now for our listeners, 20% off plus free shipping with the code DNVR20 at manscaped.com. Best in below-the-waist grooming. Check out manscaped.com. Use code DNVR20.
What is up, everybody, and welcome into the Losers Lounge. Presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use promo code DNVR. That's not accurate.
That's right.
I'm not gonna lie, guys. I can't believe we're in the Losers Lounge right now. I can't believe we're in the Losers Lounge for a home game with rest against the Wizards. I know Denver's a little short-handed, but Wizards also short-handed. This is gonna be a tough one to get through. But fortunately, I got my guys with me. I got Brendan Vogt.
Tough to preach patience tonight. Not gonna lie, it's a tough night.
I got D-Line Co over here. Now he's
Yo, the toughest part is that our supposed big three were all on.
I know. That is a bad thing. And then of course, Superstar Dev.
There was just there was not a lot to like about that game. So many things that just did not go well for the Nuggets.
So you mentioned it right off the top here. You get 34 points from Jamal Murray. You get 24 points from Jokic. You get 18 points from Michael Porter Jr. That's a win, right? That's got to be a win. It was not a win. And this was a game that, there were a lot of opportunities for Denver to kind of grab it and just let it go. I'll start with you, Dev. We're going to talk later on. We're going to talk about that last play because I know that's the most fresh on everybody's mind. There's a lot to break down there. But if I just ask you, what went wrong in this game?
Besides the big three, there was no one else that really stepped up. And even at times, those three weren't on their A games. They weren't playing the best to their ability. Jamal had a rough start, as he has been doing. Jokic kind of just, he started out scoring. And again, against the Wizards, he couldn't finish out. And then Michael Porter Jr. just trying to figure it out still. But other than those three, nobody else stepped up, and that had to be what lost them the game.
Yeah, I mean, I guess perimeter defense, right? It was pretty bad. I mean, they couldn't contain anyone, especially Beal. Not surprising without Gary or PJ. I mean, Monte and Barton was unplayable tonight. Neither of those guys could hit a shot for 3 quarters. So, I get what Malone's doing closing with Monte, but it was a tough night. It was a tough night when the backup guards had nothing.
3 of 15 combined for Barton and Monte, which is just like kind of wild. D-Line, what went wrong?
I mean, I really think, just kind of forensically looking at this, the game was pretty much lost in the first half during those Vlatko minutes.
Well, I mean, I don't. One thing that's going to happen in this game is we're going to whittle it down. I know I just asked you guys to whittle it down to one thing, so it's a little bit. But I'm saying the conversation can end up. You reduce it down to here it is. Here's the thing that did it. But the truth is, they lost by 2. There was so many negatives to this that any one of those goes the other way, and you start to feel like,
so
okay,
true. It's true.
But you're not wrong. Those were very loud minutes.
They were loud. Ryu Hachimura was just cooking him every single time. I'm looking at the box score now. Everybody was about even, -2, +2. He's the outlier at -8.
Yeah, I mean, 10 minutes too. It was a really rough 10 minutes. I think we can start with the Barton thing. Maybe throw the Wolves then a bone here. This has been a really rough year for him, and I think he's had some positive games. But for the most part, it's been one of his weaker years. I don't like the revisionist history with Barton where we go back and say, he was never good, this, that. Barton has been a great contributor. He got injured. It's been, more down than up since, this whole season in terms of just what he can give you athletically. And tonight, he so clearly just did not have it. I mean, he goes 0 of 5 from the three-point line, and a lot of those threes were either The type that you're like, don't. I mean, there was one play, it was almost hilarious, where Vogt is watching him dribble it up the court, and he's like, don't jack a shot here, don't jack a shot, don't take a dumb shot, don't take a shot. And what's he do? Takes just I mean, you saw it. It's like he had the look in his eye that he was going to shoot it the whole way. Shoots what turned out to be a contested three-pointer, nowhere close. And there were so many of those tonight with Will Barton. This was a really, really rough one. And what made it even more difficult was Denver's so short-handed that Malone ended up benching him, rightfully so. But then you end up closing with Campazzo, Monte, and Jamal so tiny, and that also killed you. So this was a game they desperately needed Barton, and he gave him maybe his worst performance of the year.
Barton wasn't bad. He was horrible. He was absolutely horrible in the game, and he went back to a lot of the things that our viewers and fans see often. We talk about how he has been better at not shooting the Nuggets out of the game.
And he only took 7 shots, but I mean, still.
But 1 of 7. You clearly didn't have it, so stop shooting.
And some of those shots were really
and I was
going
to say, a lot of them were heat check shots without any heat.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Where you going?
Doesn't even make sense. But then on top of that, he's a player that's like a versatile defender. And this was a game that he really needed to step up in without Gary Harris there, who was the player that limited Bradley Beal from doing everything last game. And this was a game that they needed Barton to do it because, like you said, to close out of the game, Michael Malone had to go with a very, very small group, and that's when you started to see a lot of shots going up and them just not being able to close teams out. So Barton was the bright spot today on bad shots and also just losing the game.
He stood out the most. Yeah, like it is. I mean, it's funny because you said that Malone benched him, but like he benched him way too late. Like you said, I mean, it was just obvious to everybody that was watching. Like, yo, Barton doesn't have it, and he won't acknowledge that he doesn't have it. Like, put R.J. Hampton in at that point.
Right.
There's put Zeke Naji in at that point. Like. There were just
Zeke continues to contribute is the thing. Like nobody was playing defense tonight. There was just no. And when you talk about Barton, what I think was especially frustrating about this game, he has had some games where that's for Dev only. There you go.
Thanks, Josh.
Barton has had some games where he's taken the bad shots and he's missed shots and he's been off, but at least there's like buy-in on some of the other like things around the edges. And this was a game where from watching it, I never have said this about Will Barton before. Watching it, I almost was like, is he just not into it tonight?
Yeah.
The game, like he didn't defensively. There was a couple plays where he didn't even move, and you're like, hey, what was that?
I think defensively is where he's been the worst this season. Offensively, there are lowlights, no doubt, but there are also occasionally like 3 for 6, 3 for 7, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. He's tried to fill in around the edges at times. Defensively, he's not able or willing right now, and it's effort and capability, and that to me is the toughest thing. Like these nights are going to happen. He's had good quarters, good halves offensively. At this point, we know to expect these games offensively, but then he has to make up for it on the glass defensively, and tonight he didn't.
Yeah, man. The other thing I have to say is like, so those Barton minutes, those Barton mistakes put us in a hole.
Yeah.
But this game was like still very winnable going down the stretch, and both Jokic and Murray like kind of faltered.
They did, and it's funny because I just talked about how that two-man game, how great it is, and tonight, here's how I saw the game. The opening of this game was absolutely horrible. It was one of the worst openings I've ever seen. Jokic, thank God, was the only one who was still playing just like he always does and was making his shots, but I think everybody started the game for the Nuggets 0 for 2, every single player except for Jokic, and it felt very much like it was a brick fest. It was ugly, and Jokic, I thought, kept him in it. They were down, but he kept them hovering around. If it weren't for him making his shots. Then Jamal Murray got it going at the end of the second quarter. Then went nuclear for a period.
Yep.
And then, to your point, disappeared. And then both of them kind of trailed off there at the end. And it's what's tough about this, and I don't think Murray is the guy to blame for this game by any means. He gets 34 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Like he personally he tweeted out like it's on me or whatever, and I like that. I think that shows leadership, and it is a little bit on him. But I mean, he did his job. But the one thing I will say about him is it's so tough to plan for a guy that gives you almost nothing for a first half, then gives you everything for most of a second half. Like, as much as you look at the line and go, that's 12 of 23, it was like the 11 misses all came in a row, the 12 makes all came in a row. I just think that's hard to build a rhythm around.
especially as a player on the floor around him. And just like mentally, you just got to go to Jokic. You know that you're going to get Jamal at some point.
Yeah.
At some times. So it's like, well, when do I go to him? Right now I'm hot, but we need this guy to get going because we need to win this game. And we can't go to me every single time, but I'm clearly the only one that is, scoring right now. I'm clearly the only one that is engaged at all. And then this guy does it, and then he gets all, not that he gets the attention or anything, but he gets to take all of the shots at one time. And it's like, well, I don't know when I should jump in or when I should take over again, because we don't know when he's going to slow down, and he always does slow down, and this was a game that we've seen it.
Yeah.
I thought Jokic was a little shaky down the stretch tonight.
For sure he was.
He really was.
It's so unfair to Jokic because he's so incredible.
All the time.
But it's true. I mean, like, if you're talking about, like, what you can typically expect from the Nuggets and Jokic, I mean.
And it's not any bigger than that. It's just that he struggled tonight. But I thought, the two-man at the end, there was a little bit, I thought, of, like, Murray looking at Jokic and maybe not sure what Jokic wanted to do, which is rare, and maybe feeling like he had to get it done. So unfortunate that it came down to that. This was a game that, even with all the injuries, should have been done after 3 quarters. And it's tough, man. It's tough. It's another one that process or result. It's just, this is one too many losses to bad teams.
So George Karl once on our show once talked about how when Carmelo would really get going, sometimes he wouldn't like that, because the team just goes to him. And like, you ride that for a wave, but no player stays hot forever. And I thought part of what I think happened with Jokic tonight as I'm watching it was Murray got all of his points in a row. Like, they all came in a short window, and the team just kept feeding him. Like, every possession was, hey, Murray, do something awesome, and he did. And then it was like, let's come out of that, and they just never were able to do that. Now, that's not an excuse. Teams need to be able to pivot and get to their other thing, especially a two-man game that's worked for so long, but that was just the rhythm that happened. The other player we should talk to about this starting lineup, though, we kind of put everything on Barton, and I think he was the worst of the two. But Monte Morris was also really bad.
Really bad.
And, we've talked so much on this show just about how the Monte-Murray combo is really good and it works together really well. But part of that is because Monte is a viable offensive threat in his own right. Like, he's not a guy you could just leave off. And tonight, he didn't have it. He didn't have his three-point shot. He didn't have his floater game. He didn't seem to have control of the basketball the way he usually does.
I mean, I got to say, like, all of this, I feel like, really comes down to Michael Malone. Like, I just feel like the game was managed in a really strange way.
Yeah.
It came out.
The rhythm of the game.
The rhythm of the game was very strange. It came out like everybody was off at the beginning, and then he made quick, like, knee-jerk reactions, put in Vlatko, put in, like, really strange. Like, if you go, I'm sure when you go back and look, like, you'll see some of these lineups. Like, what is this? Like,
and his hands are a little tied with everybody out right now, but
that's a good point.
At the same time, you're right. If he at that moment goes to RJ instead of Vlatko, then maybe RJ has a little bit of an impact, put some kind of energy into the game, and you have another option, so you don't have to play two tiny guys at the same time to close.
I mean, it's funny because we're talking about a 2-point loss, so.
But a 2-point loss to a bad team, though. I don't
know. We were talking at the beginning, like, the Wizards have been.
They didn't have
Bertans
Bertans tonight, though.
It's true. It's true. I'm not granting a pass to anybody, but I'm saying, like, your initial, like, premise of this entire lounge is correct in that it's such a small margin of loss. It's hard to put it on one thing. There's so many small failings that happened along the way, and this game was so winnable. Like, I didn't really it hasn't really set into me that we lost this game. It was so exciting going down the stretch, and, like, that last play was just so crazy.
Well, here's another thing that's funny. Denver was missing early, but so was Washington. And maybe you chalk that up to Denver good defense. I mean, Washington, the first quarter scores 26-22. And I thought it was clear when Malone made that sub, it was the offense that needed a jolt. Like, the defense was there, and he put in Vlatko. And you're thinking, well, this isn't going to give a jolt to the offense. And sure enough, it didn't. I mean, it's easy to play like that could have worked out, and then I would have thought it was wrong but not said anything.
I even think the closing lineup, too, it's easy to say now, hey, don't play Monte or Barton, two guys you trust and have gone to war with, and go with either of the rookies. But I thought either RJ or Zeke could have closed tonight. They just did not have a chance of staying in front of Bradley Beal down the stretch. Yeah. And not for one possession did you feel like they could if they needed to.
And Bradley Beal goes for 33 points on 19 shots tonight.
Yeah, Bradley Beal is the player that everyone knew going into the game was going to give the Nuggets some problems. So I think that the game plan should have been to try to slow him down, to give him different looks. And you have a guy in RJ Hampton on the bench that could have gave him different looks, fast, physical, Just a change of pace that he needed. Give him some Facu defense at times. A lot of things, but not just let him just destroy Will Barton, go at Jamal Murray the entire time without any type of looks. They gave him Facu for a couple of plays. He got some strips on him. He made it a pretty difficult. You're not going to slow down a score like that. That's that good. But you could give them different looks, and I don't think that they did that at all. And then on Monte, just to go back from there, you could see, like, you could determine what type of game Monte really had or the type of game he's having based off of you just go to the turnover column and go straight down. If he has more than one turnover, you know that he was not in his right, like, state of mind. And this was a game that, I mean, it didn't look like he shot a lot. He shot a ton tonight because you got to go to the free throws that he took, and he missed a lot of shots. He really was out of it tonight. And, I mean, we talked about Barton not looking like he was in it. It looked like a lot of guys just really was not into it. And you would have thought that after losing to Washington already, that this was a game that they would have at least
Yeah, they
been
definitely
up for.
didn't have this game circled.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about in the pregame. Like, is that a game that they look like, okay, we lost to them, are they going to be motivated? And in no way did anyone seem motivated, not even Murray, and he went berserk for a while. No one was motivated for this game, and, I mean, this is what happens when you're in the league and you're not prepared for a team.
The one that hurts me the most tonight, this is the last guy we'll talk about before our first break, but I really liked the game from Michael Porter tonight. I mean, I'm going to have to go back and rewatch because he's a guy that often I just need to watch and make sure he really shored up all the little details. But tonight, Michael Porter, first of all, 41 minutes again, so back-to-back he plays 40 minutes. He gets 18 points, 10 rebounds, so again he hits the board, makes a point of emphasis, gets 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block. I thought defensively he was locked in. Yeah. Offensively he made a lot of, like, his shot, I don't want to say it's back, but he was missing really left and right. Like, he was missing bad. And tonight he was, like, hitting his shots and shooting them in rhythm and with confidence again. And I think over this last handful of games he's kind of realized I like his approach. He's not looking for shots. In fact, there's maybe 1 or 2 he could have taken that he didn't. He's not even looking to move towards getting the basketball. He's almost just staying out of the way and then doing the hustle stuff. And I like that for him, which is why it makes, a little frustrating. Just the way the game ended. We're going to talk about the end of the game in the second segment, but just break down Michael Porter, what you saw from him.
Yeah, outside of that, I thought he played really, really well tonight from the jump. Defensively, I thought Dev, you talked about how no one looked like they wanted to play tonight. I thought in the first quarter, MPJ was the only guy who looked like he wanted to play any D. His head was in it with the rebounds. I thought he made some timely cuts. He had a monster dunk for those calling to see him go to the rim more. I loved his approach all night long. There's the final play, plenty to talk about. But this is not an MPJ scapegoat game. And if you're looking for, like, not the positive takeaway, but the scary takeaway, Murray goes berserk. Jokic had a solid game. MPJ approaches the game the right way.
This is supposed to be the recipe for disaster.
But you got so little from everybody else. I mean, really, really just so little. And then those weird decisions. What did you see from MPJ, Dev?
I seen what I've been, like, calling for, and I think that Malone wants him to do, and you can tell by the minutes again. 40 minutes because he's out there playing hard. He's attacking the boards, and he had 4 offensive rebounds, so you're getting it done on both ends. But you're just not making so many, like, dumb plays, so many rookie mistakes out there on the floor, and you're rebounding really hard. So there's no way you look at this game and you try to fault Michael Porter Jr. for anything that he did. Maybe the last play of the game is one that you're like, okay, but he also hasn't been in situations that he's the go-to guy or he's the guy that's making the decision on the last play of the game. So chalk that up to that being a rookie move for him. But other than that, 18 points, 10 rebounds, and fitting in with his guys, like, every single time that they play, they're getting better with each other, and he's starting to, like, catch on to small things like, okay, I need to be here, I need to make cuts, I need to move out of the way. And he also turned down shots. Like, that's big for a player like Michael Porter Jr., whose game is predicated on points. So that's a positive game for him.
That extra pass to Murray, maybe a buy myself some goodwill decision.
Well, just totally. And I think that play kind of shows you, when we were watching live, I would have rather Michael Porter taken that shot just because I felt like he was open, it was in rhythm or whatever. You get the extra pass, it was a little tough. But at the same time, you totally understand that he's like, to me, that was him buying into the role of like, I'm not supposed to be taking this.
Jamal's hot tonight.
Jamal's hot.
We just went over
and
this.
again, but this is more what I'm talking about with Jamal and how when they all come in bunches like that, everything gets thrown just a little bit off. But I think that wasn't even about Jamal getting hot. I think that was about Michael Porter being, I'm trying to be a good teammate. Everybody says this is Murray and Jokic's team. Like,
I think you're right. I mean, but Michael, like, he was shooting the ball with such confidence tonight. Like we saw, like, I mean, he didn't make it, but we saw like a deep 3 attempt. We saw some of his like patented transition pull up, Mike threes. Like that dunk at the end, like you said, was just like with such authority. And so, I mean, it really looked like Mike was and is like regaining his confidence. I mean, again, like if you told me that those 3 players were going to score about 20 points and up, I would be like, oh man, that's it. That's the recipe. Like we see the future here tonight. We absolutely crushed the Wizards. So frustrating.
Really frustrating. Let's hit our first break. On the other side, we have to talk about that final play. And we have to just ask about the vibe around this team, because I think part of what happens with this team right now is there's a cloud hanging over them, just follows them up and down the court right now, and it kind of sucks. But we'll take a break.
One of the tough realizations I had entering adulthood was that men's grooming, not easy. Not a lot of the right tools for the job.
Hey, but we back, baby, with this read.
You know
here.
what? Yeah, no,
we're back, baby.
Not a lot of education either. I was like, what do I do?
The worst part is that we had to shepherd you into the idea of male grooming.
That's right. Eric held my hand through the whole process. Some painful lessons along the way, and what I learned ultimately was that I need to switch to Manscaped. They're the best in men's below the waist grooming. They offer precision engineered tools for your family jewels. I use their trimmer. It's got that nice guard. It's almost impossible to cut yourself. They got a lot of nice, what do I say? Ointments that'll help you smell better, feel fresher. I use their nose trimmer. All jokes aside, this stuff is no fun unless you have the right tools. Manscaped's got the right tools. Check out manscaped.com. Use code DNVR20 for 20% off and free shipping. Hassel Cattle Company, Wagyu beef. Eric, tell us a little bit about it. You love Hassel Cattle Company.
Guys, I love Hassel Cattle Company. You know why? Wagyu beef is the best beef in the goddamn world. It is, I believe it originated in Japan. This is blue-collar Wagyu beef. It's cultivated here stateside. The thing about Wagyu beef is that it's the marbling, guys. It's tender. It comes out juicy and delicious. And again, like if you cook it the right way, which I think it's impossible to not cook it the right way, you can cut it with a butter knife. It's so tender.
It's the best. And it's the people's meat because it's affordable. So head to HassellCattleCompany.com. That's HASSELL cattlecompany.com. Use promo code DNVR10 for 10% off your order. That's DNVR10 for 10% off. And hey, any orders over $200, free shipping. So check them out. We promise you will not be disappointed. That's HassellCattleCompany.com.
All right, back here, segment 2 now. I think we might need to pay a quick visit to
oh boy,
our resident referee. Do we have a resident referee?
Oh boy.
Let's look for, let's see if we have one.
Oh boy, you make the call.
You make the call. Look at this graphic. I like it.
Thanks, man.
Oh man, I think I got an extra medium here, Deb. You might have a...
No, you screwed him over.
You make the call as to whether or not this is a good fit.
Oh man, actually, no, it is a good fit. Dev has a very, he has a lot of referee energy, doesn't he?
He has big
referee energy.
I wish it's not fitting, brother.
Whistle's not going over the dome piece. All right, we're joined here by a professional referee to help us make a judgment call here. We got some tough judgment calls. Final play of the game. Nuggets have a chance to close this one out. They have a chance to win, guys. There's 6 seconds left. Jamal Murray gets a rebound at the free throw line. He gets it. It looks like it's a 3-on-1 fast break to begin, but, you know, we'll see how it breaks. It falls apart. Michael Porter runs to the corner. Facu runs to the wing. Jamal Murray runs to the other wing. Bradley Beal is back. They don't get anything out of this. It's really, it really is a 4-on-2.
You know what the difficult part about this is that I can see the monitor and I can see Dev in the monitor, and I can't stop laughing.
So we have to present a case here. The referee is going to go to the tape. He's going to review. But Vogt, who's to blame for this final possession?
A lot of people are going to tell you that the Rook MPJ should have cut to the rim. And that's true. Might not have mattered if Jamal Murray just takes that to the rack. And that he didn't. 1-on-3. The way he's been scoring.
I can't wait for a whistle here. We
Just
have
do
a
it. Just do
violation. What do we have? A tech? Are we giving out a tech? Look at Dev. Dev is that ref that just is the whole
are you
game.
laughing?
He's just.
Yeah, why are you fucking laughing at us?
Why are you laughing at me?
I think look, MPJ made a mistake. Jamal at this point, veteran guard. I think he's got to find a way to take it to the rack and score.
You're so right. Although
So it's Jamal Murray's fault. He should have gone to the rack.
Jamal Murray should have absolutely just driven to the rack. He had Bradley Beal in front of him. Bradley Beal is like 5'3". I mean, like. He should have just yammed it on his head. Like it should have been. It should not. Like to me, it felt like. It felt like the end of the game with the Jazz, where Jamal took it to the rack or took it down and then passed it off to Torrey Craig when he should have just dribbled it out. Except for the opposite, he should just taken it to the rack. Obviously, MPJ was wide open. So was Facu. So was Monte. They all had wide open space. No defenders back, but. They were all expecting Jamal just to take it to the goddamn rack. Why he did not, I do not know.
Yeah, I think Murray made a mistake by not doing that. I think he very clearly saw an alley-oop opportunity to Michael Porter.
And they're so good at those.
And Michael Porter said, "No thanks. I'm gonna fan out to the corner. I got these tiny hands." And honestly, like, look, I think there's a lot of blame to go around on this possession. I think it's clearly both of Michael Porter for not wanting it. And look, I don't know what his thought process was there, but I have to think there was a little part of him that was like, I don't want this one. I don't want the alley-oop. I don't want the contested now. The game's on the line for me. I don't know. And then Jamal Murray just could have attacked the basket. What do we have?
I can't stop looking at the hat just delicately perched on Dev's head, and then it's like squished in on the sides.
It is a very small hat. It's a very tiny hat there. I think it was actually a child's Halloween costume. I got it on discount for child. So I would say I think Murray probably 1, Porter 2. The thing is, if Porter does go to the basket there and Murray has to throw a contested lob with Bradley Beal, who is ready for it, I mean, you saw it, does that play go in?
I think there were more angles on that. It doesn't have to be a lob. I think Murray can find a way to get that pass off.
It was wide open court for
Then again,
all three of those
did you
players.
see the pass to Facu?
I cannot
So
wait.
maybe not.
I can't wait to hear the official ruling. By the way,
All right,
we've all said Murray.
Let's go to the official.
So there was 2 foul calls on the play. They're going to offset, actually. One was on Vogt, guy over here.
It's true.
The other was on you. You're
Whoa.
actually kicked out of the game.
Wow,
Kicked
just
out
like
of the
that.
game.
So can I use a swear?
Yep. It's actually a flagrant 2. Adam seems to be the most correct on this.
Yeah, he said Jamal also.
just
Yeah,
said the
but it
same
was the
shit we
way
said.
that he said it.
It
It's
was
not
the
what
way
you
I
say,
said
it's
Jamal.
how you
That's
say
so,
it.
man,
This
this
wedding
is
is
a
horseshit.
great referee.
And also,
man.
you know, me being a referee that
referee.
I am, that also does a double at Foot Locker.
Oh.
I don't have to change my outfit at all.
Maybe take the hat off.
It's got to be the shoes on top of that. It was Jamal Murray. He was the issue here. He really should have been way more aggressive. Get to the at least make Bill have to make a decision that he has to either guard you so you can shoot it, or you make a decision that you do a bounce pass or any other pass that's to Michael Porter Jr. Also, as a guard, you could force him to make that play if you just throw it to an area and he has to go after it. Michael Porter can't go to the corner, so you're out of the game. You have
Son of a bitch.
You have a foul.
Does anyone have a quarter? I need to
Adam
call my
and one.
mom.
And 1, baby. And 1.
Also, Jamal Murray blamed himself after the game. I was going to play that trump card.
Yeah, that is a pretty good trump card. Since we have a referee here, actually, I think we should ask a few more questions.
I'd love to. I'd love to get some clarity on some of the...
A closing lineup felt like it was a strange one. Referee, where should Michael Malone gone with the closing lineup? Where was the foul decision? Was it sticking with Facu, who was not very good, by the way, tonight? We haven't even mentioned Facu. I should say he had some great plays.
He's good in the fourth.
He had some great plays, but he had some not so great ones.
He was minimal.
And he was too. Yeah, he was just this one. He really did get bullied. Look, I think you can have 1 Facu out there. You can't have 2. They tried to close with 2 tonight with him and Monte, and they just
bullied by
got
Raul
bullied.
Neto.
Not Raul Neto. Really took it to him.
the freaking mini lads.
Let us know, Argentinians, if you're is there a Brazilian? Is there a Neto Compazzo? Is it sting a little extra that Neto kind of got the better of Compazzo tonight? I gotta think it did.
I thought Facu was a little overzealous on defense tonight. Maybe playing a little too far up on guys like Neto, getting blown by a lot, and then of course just too small for Westbrook, which isn't his fault. But
But how should they have closed the game?
See, I'm glad that you asked the referee. We never get the questions.
I know.
I'm also
He's supposed to just make a ruling.
I'm kind of like an AAU referee, so like I've seen the game I've seen so many games today. Like that's
12
just how it
games in a
goes.
day,
12
yeah.
games in one day, so I have an idea of how this should have went.
Are you the referee that like sits down and referees from a seat when he gets
and
tired?
then at halftime, I'm taking shots. I'm trying to do dunks. I'm trying to do everything to show you guys.
Flirting with the kid's
I'm a
mom.
different type of-
Facu and Neto, they had a lot of battles. History there.
So maybe that's why he overplayed him. But yeah, I think that not that it's a mistake to go with Facu because he gave a lot of energy that the Nuggets clearly needed.
Sure.
He came up with a lot of big plays like to close out the game. But also like in that decision, I mean in that situation, maybe you do a Malone where you do offense to defense. We don't see that at the NBA level, but with a player like Facu, you could do that. Like at least have some size like that matches up, or also an offensive like player or shooter like just at the end of the game. But you really needed Facu to be out there just because of what he did bring. But then that makes you offset like maybe you don't have Monte out there
Yeah, I think that's
or
it.
someone else.
I think
That's
it.
where the mistake comes. It's not the Facu decision because he actually did step up a lot, to close out the game. A lot of heads up plays, the steals.
I think he stole their final two possessions.
He had the push inbounds off of Robin Lopez. Like those are amazing plays.
Sure.
But also then you could also like remember when Russell backed him down and had the turnaround shot right in his face because he's not big enough for those type of situations. So I mean it's a lose-lose in that. But I would have tried to, go with Najee or somebody like that.
Najee, man. Najee was having a night, too.
So, well, here's the one thing. It was tough. I do think it was a tough call because you didn't have a natural guy that you go to. You went to Will Barton. We just talked about what an awful night he had. R.J. Hampton didn't even play. And then if you go small. So the other I do think that I'm with you. I would have preferred to have seen Najee, but that would have required Michael Malone playing not only a rookie to close the game over veterans, but also would have required him to have played Zeke Najee out of position, or alongside Michael Porter, whatever. Still, going big against a team that goes small, he was never going to do that. Whether he should have or shouldn't have, he was never going to make that call.
I agree with that. But just going too small when it's going to be Westbrook and Beal down the stretch, like that small three guards, it just felt like too much. But look, to your point, man, the alternatives we're talking about here is like he should have trusted the rookies more. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And that's
a little earlier.
It's really easy to say that. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Do we have any?
Sometimes the players just need to play better.
I know, but at a certain point, like Malone is like now sort of branded his coaching style as riding the hot hand, but he was just like he was riding the cold hand for quite some time.
Such a good take. He did ride the cold hands today.
I don't know. I just don't get it, man. Like I'm very, as a noted Malone stan, like he's let me down a few times in the last several games with the way his handling of certain things, and I feel like there is some overcorrection happening, and there's some sort of just like thoughtless, like just trying to send a message by like just taking people out, putting other people in, not like searching for what's going to work, but like not really being thoughtful about it. And at the end of the game, like I don't know. I mean, I'm just frustrated, man, because we really could have won that game. That was a very winnable game, and especially that last possession, like.
Yeah.
It was
really fun. Do we have any other questions for our referee since we have our referee here at the moment?
I have one question. I notice most NBA referees don't wear a funny little hat.
I know. Why do we have a hat on our referee?
Why is
it a football referee's outfit? I think it is a football referee's outfit.
What about you has decided to step outside and buck the trend and wear this little hat?
Basketball players, they usually wear headbands like when they sweat and things like that.
It's a sweating situation.
I don't. Yeah, it's a sweating situation. Also, my skull kind of stinks. I don't want that smell to get out to everyone else.
Can confirm.
Yeah, stinky skull. That's what it is.
He has a lot of uncle energy, doesn't he? Right now, he has a lot of uncle at the barbecue energy.
I'm trying to figure out why, but Matt Moore just texted me and said he's driving to the bar to fight all of us. So I'll
trying
keep you
to
guys
fight
updated.
us?
Yeah.
About what?
I don't know. We did something wrong. I'll let you know.
He hates the referees.
He wants to wear a hat.
Hates
That's
the
what it
referees.
is.
He wants to be the ref. All right, we can say thank you, referee, for that. That was very good.
Thanks for having me, guys. I love when you guys
What a
bring
great job.
different type of people on the show.
What a great job.
Stuff is amazing.
Do we want to hit
let's hit king of the game. And guys, I'm not gonna lie, it was super producer Kale. 63 nuggets he made it through, which is technically a failure.
An absolute failure. But tonight's competition was relative. It was just him v. Ben.
I will say he actually ate 62 nuggets, tied our intern Ben.
Former intern.
We hired that guy?
Yeah, he's hired.
What the hell?
He's hired.
It's a great bit that no one knows that, but we did hire Ben full time. Just for the record.
But they tied at 62. It was like the Elam ending, The first one to 63 wins, and Kel gutted it out.
Well,
so
yeah,
big shouts.
we absolutely just bullied the both of them. Just screamed, "Come on, you can eat one more. You can eat one more." Ben, impervious to our bullying.
Very impervious
Kale,
to it.
Very
That's
susceptible.
why we love
Hey,
him. He's
I'm gonna-
very impressionable.
Really quick, guys. Rob Canham Jr., you just saw him with the super chat there.
Oh, nice. Thanks
He's
for
the
the
winner
shout
of
out.
our Yeah Mike shirt giveaway.
Yeah,
so
Mike.
shout out, Rob. We appreciate you. All the support.
Josh Moore,
Oh, yeah.
thank you.
We'll be sending you that shirt. Yeah, shout out Josh Moore. You guys are the best. That's it.
That was it.
Shout out.
All right.
We have one super chat. Do we want to hit that real quick?
What is
just
the
did.
question? Sure.
Yeah.
Question is, should we trade for Victor Oladipo? Would that take us to the next level?
I don't think so.
Nope.
I don't think so. Mixed reviews on Oladipo. I've heard a more of, I think, a tendency to be a bit more of a high usage guy, but also just like, what does Denver really need? Defense. I think his reputation was of this like great steals guy, but I think he's like a Westbrook-esque defender.
Some like unnecessary gambles.
Unnecessary gambler is going to get some steals or breakouts and scream, but like not maybe. I just don't think that's what Denver needs.
Oh, God,
The speed, though, I would be very curious about the quickness.
this season sucks, man. Like,
It does.
We're just put in this position where we have to evaluate what's left on the team as the team. Like
I know.
Gary Harris out. Gary Harris a big part of this team. Like,
And Dozier's his best replacement.
Dozier's his best
one-to-one
replacement,
replacement.
And both of the other bigs, like Millsap and Green, these are not small losses.
They're also replacements of themselves too.
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's the type of thing where you're like, oh, okay, whatever, Gary Harris. But we have a very clear example of what that looks like in the playoffs, where the Nuggets were getting destroyed until Gary Harris came back. He completely flipped the series, won that Jazz series with the ability to bring his defense. And you can't tell me that if Gary Harris wasn't shading Bradley Beal tonight, he wouldn't have been a little bit less effective. So.
The timeline. What stinks is we've entered the part where the timeline feels urgent now.
It's
right?
true.
There's not a lot of time, because otherwise, it's a perfectly justified take to sit here and go, "Hey, I'm going to wait till I see this team whole before
It's
I
true.
bury them." The team that was just in the Western Conference Finals, the team that's gotten better every year under Malone with Yoke. But I also understand that at a certain point, you can't ignore how much time is passing and how much runway is left.
So here's what stinks is part of what's happened with these guys out is Michael Porter's been forced to play a lot, and he played 41 minutes. And I honestly think that he's getting better. Like, I think the last 2 weeks, there've been a meaningful,
Definitely.
really the last week, a meaningful, God, these two every time, man, like that they never understood what's going on in the
school
discussion.
kids.
It's like, it is like school
Yeah,
kids. It's
dude.
like a little bit here.
Read the note aloud, nerds.
Should we go to break?
Yeah.
Let's go to break. We'll take a break. On the other side, we'll wait. I think Harrison's coming back here soon. He should have some notes from Harrison.
Okay. DraftKings, fella, it's not quite time for the madness that is college basketball in March. March Madness, Eric. I don't know if you knew that. But that doesn't mean the fun has to wait. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is giving all new players the chance to cash $100. New customers can bet $1 on any team to hit a three-pointer in any basketball game this week. If your team makes it rain, you can cash $100. That's right. All it takes is one three-pointer from your chosen team to turn $1 into $100. If it sounds like a no-brainer, that's because it is. Use your brain. Take advantage of this offer. DraftKings has paid over $7 billion to its customers since 2012. They know a thing or two about big paydays, and you know that this operation is legit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code DNVR to get your shot to turn $1 into $100 when you bet on any team to hit a three-pointer in any basketball game this week. That is promo code DNVR for new customers to get a shot at 100-to-1 odds on any basketball team to hit a three-point shot. Must be 21 or older. Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. Winnings paid out in 4 $25 free bets. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. That's 1-800-522-4700.
Did you guys want to know something?
Yeah,
I
what's
won
up?
all my bets tonight.
Happy for you, brother.
Thanks, bro.
And I'm still on my cold streak. I think I went 2 for 3 or 2 for 5, 2 and 3. So
The Colorado Hawks are a nonprofit organization helping student athletes from all over Colorado achieve their dreams of earning scholarships and playing sports at the next level. The Hawks contribute to the development and increase exposure for high-level student athlete in boys and girls basketball, as well as girls soccer. Most importantly, this investment in their student athletes is provided in an affordable model. They've never turned an athlete away due to costs. That's the big part. That's what they're selling, and that's what you should be buying. The Colorado Hawks program provides themselves on keeping kids off the streets and helping underprivileged youth earn opportunities they might not otherwise be exposed to. This year, the Hawks are celebrating their 25th anniversary. We've teamed up with them to raise awareness for this great organization. As they are a nonprofit, our number one goal is to help them fundraise for the organization so they can continue to provide opportunities for young student athletes in Colorado. Head to YokicForMVP.com to get a great high-quality shirt that says, you guessed it, Jokic for MVP.
It's right here, baby.
You can help a great organization at the same time. Let's come together, support a program that has helped so many opportunities for the youth of Colorado. Head to YokicForMVP.com and buy that shirt.
I gotta say, like, it's a little breezy, but quickly, like, as a person that's familiar with making shirts and the construction of shirts, this is a tri-blend. This is a really nice shirt. Like it's really soft. This is like a high quality shirt. You should buy it. I bought one.
Good job. All right, let's bring in now the Peloton Prince himself to take us inside the locker room. See, he's joining us any second here. There you are, Harrison. How's it going?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
Perfect.
So I saw Ryan Blackburn tweeting that there was a weird vibe in the building. This was even before the end of the game. A weird vibe. You know, we're watching it on TV. So much is lost. Did you feel like there was something uniquely weird about the atmosphere tonight?
It was a weird vibe because this game just sucked. Like, that was the weird vibe. This was like an unwatchable game for most of the 4 quarters. So I think that was the weird vibe more than anything. This game was just terrible.
Yeah. So you think it was just the rhythm of the game?
Yeah.
Well, take us inside the locker room or to the Zooms, I guess, post-game Zooms.
Take us inside the internet.
What did Michael Malone have to say about this one?
So he started off talking about the turnovers and Washington's offensive rebounding, and then went into that final play, which I'll get to in a second. But like, Denver had 18 turnovers tonight, 7 turnovers in the first quarter. 2 days after they set an NBA record for only 1 turnover in a game, which is kind of like a microcosm of Denver's season. And then the offensive rebounding. The Wizards had 5 offensive rebounds for 8 second chance points in the fourth quarter. So like, Denver just could not finish a possession in the fourth quarter especially, and that killed them.
Yeah. It is, you know, I talked about this last game. I thought the 1 turnover had not everything. I mean, it's impressive. There's no taking away from it. But it had a lot to do with how they were being defended by Portland, and just the fact that Portland, there was not a lot of passes.
As it not being defended by Portland?
But also just we're not going to help. So sure. Jokic, you go and do your thing or whatever. So I think there was a little bit of that. But it's certainly sloppy tonight. Very sloppy tonight. What else do you have?
Yeah, so we can just get into that final play because that was obviously the main talking point in the post-game Zoom. Malone said, quote, "We had a layup. That's a 3-on-1 break. All Michael Porter's got to do is cut to the basket. All Jamal Murray has to do is push the ball and attack. And then we have a layup." And then he wasn't even asked about this, but he just kind of said, quote, "Out of a timeout, we're not going to get a better look than a 3-on-1 fast break." So obviously no thought in calling a timeout. A timeout should not have been called. Like, no way. Right. They got a 3-on-1 fast break. They should have got a layup out of it. So, yeah, that's what he had to say about the final play.
I think there's no question about that they shouldn't have taken the timeout. They had numbers.
3-on-1.
Yeah. It was either a 3-on-1 or a 4-on-2, depending on where you cut everything off. But did it sound like he was more frustrated at Michael Porter for his decision or Jamal? Like, did he think there was one fulcrum of the mistake?
No, I don't think I could say that. He said Porter first, and he said Jamal right after. Like, you're looking for 2 guys that he named, but I don't think he indicated that he was more frustrated at one or the other.
Right. Do you want to Jamal? I know Jamal spoke. How did he break down that final possession?
Yeah, so Jamal Murray put this game on him. He took responsibility for the loss. First he said, "I should have shot it. I just should have shot it." And then I kind of pressed him on if he thought Porter was going to cut, if he thought Facu was going to cut, if he thought somebody was going to cut. He did say he thought Mike was going to cut. He also said he thought he gave Facu a really bad pass. He also admitted that he didn't really have a good sense of how much time was left either.
Yeah.
That was another reason he put this game on him. And then he said, like, quote, "We're playing basketball, guys, 4-on-1. Somebody should go to the rim." I thought Mike was going to the rim. This is a quote. "He might have thought I was shooting it. I should have shot it. I gave Facu a really bad pass. That's why I put it on me. If I'm going to stop at the 3, I've got to shoot it. And if Mike's running the lane, he's got to go to the rim, especially when there's other guys behind him."
Yeah,
I think that's all right.
Yeah, I do think it's all right. And there's an angle somebody I just saw on Twitter of the play, and it's crazy how open the paint is.
There was nobody.
3 seconds.
So,
one guy goes
Jamal
to the
Murray
rim.
just tweeted this. Are you looking at Jamal Murray's tweet? He just tweeted a screenshot of this.
He did. Oh yeah, this
Yeah.
angle. That is Jamal. I said somebody just tweeted. It was Jamal Murray. You're right. Yep, that's who
Yeah.
it was. Man, that's an interesting tweet, this angle. Because
this is publicly calling out your teammate.
Because this is hey man, my bad. The last play was my bad, and then but on second,
That was me. But you know what you should have done there. Yeah. You know exactly what you should. Actually, let me show you.
Yeah.
let me show
This
you
is
another
interesting.
angle of what you should have done. All right, what else did Murray have to say about tonight?
I mean, there really, honestly, guys, wasn't much talk outside of what happened on the final possession. He applauded Facu's defense throughout the game, how he was getting up in Bradley Beal's grill, how he was frustrating Beal. So he gave some props there.
He gave props to, you said, to Facu. Yeah, he gave him a shout out. Yeah, he did.
Facu.
Disruptive.
Something else that Jamal said, which was really interesting as well. I forgot about this, but I'm glad I wrote it down here. He was talking about the Nuggets defense, how they gave up way too many layups tonight. He was I'm sure he was looking at a box score, and he saw Roland Neto 5 or 10 from the field. I think all 5 of those were, or at least 4 of them were layups. He just thought Denver gave up way too many layups tonight. And he said, quote, "We lack a presence in the middle that can just deter layups." So that's kind of frustrating.
Ooh, we lack a presence in the middle. I feel like a couple call-outs from Jamal tonight.
I thought that was accurate. I mean, there's so many blow-bys that just sit here and go, yeah, you got to ask Nikola Jokic, of all people, to clean it up. It's not going to happen. But there were a couple tonight where he made no effort.
Yeah,
to protect the rim.
Yeah, that's true. Did did Nikola speak?
Yeah, Nikola spoke. I asked him about that last possession and if the result of it should have been a layup. And Nikola kind of pressed back on that and said, like, if that shot goes in, we're all saying it's a good shot, which I would disagree with.
So true.
If that Facu shot goes in, yes, it's great they win, but that's still a bad shot. Like, come on, that has to be a layup. So he said, like, he thought it's a good shot. I don't know if I can take him at his word on that, but that's what he said.
Did he have any other notes on this game?
Not particularly. Michael Porter Jr. was the other guy who spoke tonight, and he says looking back on that replay, he knows he should have cut, but he did have a thought that he was maybe going to get an open 3 out of it. And then I think what he's saying there is, like, if you really slow the replay down, I think Facu had a chance or had time to pass Porter the ball in the corner. It would have been really close, but I think there was time. So maybe, part of him was expecting to get that pass.
Yeah.
It's hard to blame Facu for that. I think it was such a bang.
And just
play.
looking at the angle, he had 3 options, like 3 options, and I have no idea how it ended up in Facu's hands out of the 3 options.
Yeah, I know. It is kind of
Why
funny.
did none of those guys run to the basket?
I know. It's so crazy.
Including Jamal. Why did any of those 4 guys?
It's actually interesting. It's actually interesting because Porter kind of elaborated on this, and he said, yeah, but, part of basketball, what we're taught is on fast breaks to run to the 3-point line. Obviously not at the end of the game when you, need a layup and the lane's wide open. But, when you run down on a fast break nowadays, you are taught to space to the 3-point line.
Yeah. Who else spoke?
I mean, that was it. It was Jamal, it was MPJ, and it was Yoke. And honestly, guys, it was just a lot about that last possession because, like I was saying earlier, this game was crap for like the entire night. It was a terrible watch. So I don't think there was a ton to discuss other than like Denver's defense at times, the layups they gave up, and then the last play.
Is there kind of any of your perspective on this game? You know, we talked a little bit about the game Will Barton had, Monte Morris. We talked about closing small. What just kind of stood out to you as the thing you'll take away other than the last play?
Yeah, Will Barton definitely struggled tonight. I mean, 1 of 7 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3. He was like unplayable. It seemed at times tonight, and he's in a tough spot right now. But you could definitely feel the impact, at least I thought, on the offensive glass and how many boards the Wizards got tonight on the offensive end, and how much that might have had to do with Denver playing small. Yeah. And with Jamal Murray, Monte Morris, Falcon Campazzo in that backcourt, like, I know Will Barton was terrible, but maybe he's able to get one of those rebounds.
Yeah. It's so true. It's so funny that coming into the season, the mini lads, like one of our favorite nicknames we had for a lineup is like actually our least favorite by far. Like,
hey, it's a great lineup if you're trying to play somebody on the second unit, if you're trying to change up the game's pace on the bench, but I don't think it's your ideal closing lineup.
Yeah, definitely not. All right, Harrison, we'll get home safe. Road trip coming up, so we'll have you in studio. We look forward to seeing you.
Hey, Harrison, do you want any nuggets? We've got quite a few left over.
Chicken nuggets, you're singing my music, man. Chick-fil-A is like my favorite food.
We got enough Chick-fil-A for you for the entire week. We got a lot of Chick-fil-A. All right, Harrison, thanks so much.
See you guys.
So, I mean, I don't know what else to say. It sounds like the Nuggets were short for words.
What do you say after a game like this? Just like deeply disappointing.
You can't win them all.
It turns out you can win roughly half of them.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, exactly.
Someone in the comments said this. Jamal's got a little bit of like an Aaron Rodgers relax thing going on, and I think for the most part that's been true this season. And I'm inclined to sort of live in that camp. But you can't close your eyes and ignore what's happening either. There's a threshold, and we're approaching it, and so it's tough. I mean, I'm not burying anyone. But at a certain point, like, you can't keep pretending nothing's wrong, you know?
So go ahead.
Today it didn't seem like he tried to pretend.
Right.
Like, he blatantly called out teammates today. Like,
this angle.
That's like straightforward. Like, he literally just came up.
And that's kind of what I mean to say, Dev, is like it's even he's having a harder time kind of coming out and say, hey, it's all fine, you know? Yeah.
But, you know, here's the one thing I'll say about this game, or about this season. You saw Markieff Morris the other day with his quote where he said, this is like the hardest season ever. I've never played basketball this much in my life, or whatever, this or that. I think, like... It's easy for us to kind of, because we're watching the game, like I'm very rested right now. I'm very comfortable. But I do think for these guys, this is a mentally and physically taxing season.
Oh, my God.
And there's all these different variables. And you watch, as George Karl put it, the personality of the season, of this season, is one of like inconsistency and this or that. And the Nuggets have been as inconsistent as anyone. But I do think there's reason when you said like at some point, I don't know. I would love for the Nuggets to be fun again. Consistently fun. They're fun.
I want those vibes, dude.
We want those good vibes. But I do still think that this is a season that if they're just good in the playoff time, then they're good.
Exactly.
Exactly
that.
And it sucks because we want this regular season to matter and be fun and the vibes of this or that. And it just looks like 4 more games to the All-Star break, survive, hope you get there. Then
it's not going to be a vibes year.
The thing that's crazy about this season is that it's like a different problem every night.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think probably the overarching issue is the defense, but it's like not like one thing. It's like every night it's like it's not like just like a failing of one part of the Nuggets. It's like every night like a different thing goes wrong. It's like amazing.
All right. Well, thanks guys riding with us in a tough losers lounge. There's losers lounges and then there's you blew up a 4-on-1 fast break to losers lounges. You guys are gluttons for pain.
I gotta say,
we suffer together.
I don't feel that bad. You want to know why?
You ate a lot of chicken nuggets.
A lot of chicken nuggets, and I get to hang out with my good friend Brandon Vogt, my good friend Superstar Dev, and that's all. Add him too. And
I was here too, yeah.
And the chat, Kale. Hey. I got to watch Kale. We'll post some of the final little clips of the eating challenge that went on tonight. It was high level comedy.
Yeah, that was one that you had to see. Like that was First off, I had low expectations about it going into it, but it exceeded those low expectations.
It went, but it like went
excited
low.
to be here.
We thought that they were going to get into the 70s. They didn't even get. Adam put a cap at 69, which we all thought was a hilarious
really
number.
low,
But it was a
yeah.
hilarious number, and they couldn't even get there.
Yeah, they could. They were.
The 500 of you that are here, rain or shine, win or loss, no matter
best.
what the loss looks like.
We
There's
love you.
some of you that are here no matter what. We appreciate you. We see you, and you're keeping us sane right now.
Good night, everybody. That was very hurtful what you said to me earlier. That was very hurtful.